Mm-hmm.
is what hers is kind of leaked out. She's using their Zoom room, but it's got so many.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she wants to feel.
Okay.
I think it'll flow with time. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. We're on. Okay. All right. Bye. All right, everybody, I'm trying to get my light right here. It just won't cooperate. I'm getting set up better next time. All right, let's see here. Hey, Kristen.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, I'm gonna scroll over you here and make you a co-host.
Okay.
And then that way you can bring your whoever you need to bring on, and I don't have to do anything but sit here and have fun.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna turn up my lighting here. All right, that's much better. Okay, we are. Oh boy, that's much better. Okay, let's wait here a little bit. We still have others coming on, so we will let that happen. So, how are you?
Doing good. I have a sick little one, but that's just this time of year.
Kennedy's been sick too. He's got the croup.
My little one too. I saw that you posted that.
Yeah, he's not feeling good, but he's better. They just need to rest. They need rest. Yeah. All right, let me scroll through here and see who all we have on. Ashley Renaud, I see you. Hello. All right, so we've got about a minute here. Let me just scroll through and say hello. Most people don't have their cameras on. I don't blame you. Sometimes we just don't want to be seen. I see Kaye and Nicole is on. We're still adding more and more. Okay. All right, we're top of the hour. I am very much an on-time person. So, Kristen, talk to us. What's going on?
All right. So I have some notes here.
Okay.
I guess I can speak from just a personal place here first that here just the last 6 months, I've really just kind of come to terms with the fact that God was not in my life where he should be in terms with this business especially. And I've had, some team struggles, some business struggles, and what it really comes back to for me is that priority was not in place. I've always been a believer, I've always gone to church, but just having that family first mindset. I have such a tendency to be a workaholic and to be all or nothing. And this business really brings out the red in me and, makes me competitive. And I've just had a lot of guilt, I guess, and a lot of regret. I left my nursing job as soon as my second daughter was born. And I keep having to remind myself that she wouldn't be here if not for this business, because I joined this business to go to grad school debt-free. It took me 2 months to realize I wouldn't have to go to grad school at all. And then that led us to having our daughter sooner than we expected. So trying to keep all of that in perspective, but we bought a house right after that. We had some family things happen, and I literally don't remember that first year of her life. And just recently kind of accepted the diagnosis of postpartum depression and started medication for that. And, just a lot of head stuff going on. And I started a Bible study a few weeks ago, and that has just changed kind of everything. And so I feel like there's so much wisdom from the leadership. And see if I can do some muting here too. I feel like this is probably something that's been felt by most all people, and I know that my team feels it and it's trickling down to them. And I just want to take advantage of the chance to get everybody together and kind of break down those walls. And instead of hiding behind that highlight reel that's so easy to compare ourselves with, just kind of opening up about maybe some struggles in those areas, or, how those have been overcome, and just kind of make us all feel, let go of the rank, let go of the numbers and all of that, just because sometimes we forget that we're all the same. We all shop at Walmart.
Oh gosh, you sound like me 20 years ago. I had this, I have a daughter, Kaye, who all of you know, she's on the Zoom. And before Kaye, I had Adam. He's 3.5 years older than Kaye. And it wasn't right after I had her, but it was in my 40s that I just had, all of a sudden I got this, it's all hormonal, your body just changes, and hormones can whack you in all these different directions. And I just felt like the dark cloud was just following me around everywhere I was going. And, a lot of us don't realize it's there until we start to kind of come up out of it. And like you said, that whole year, you felt like that year was gone. And it's a cloud of depression. And we don't want to admit it because it's embarrassing, and because we're strong, driven women who have families that we want to take care of. But it's there for a lot of us, not everyone, but for a lot of us. It's hormonal wreckage is what it is. And then, Kirsten, here comes one thought, and then here comes another thought, and then here comes another thought. Before you know it, everything's falling apart, but it's really not. It's just the thoughts in our head. And I mean, look what you've accomplished. We can go back and talk about having 2 babies, beautiful accomplishment, being married, having a nursing degree, and then being able to come home and build this incredible business. And I mean, when you step back and you really wrote a list, if you did a list, on one side, you would write all the awesome things, and on the other side, I believe your list would be shorter for the things that we're discussing. But we're not going to take it lightly here. We're going to really get into it. And because you're not the only one, I have been there, and that is, I remember those times. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have a lot of help. There was nothing natural out there to take. I didn't really have the friend support. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. And then I discovered this industry, and was with the company 6.5 years before it works. And the industry, the business kind of helped pull me out of it. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me friendships. It gave me a reason to also get up for me. So I think for me, I would feel guilty when I wasn't working, and I would feel guilty when I was working. But I knew I needed to bring in extra money. We needed the extra money. But, I have a degree in education. A nursing degree is very similar in that you go into work and it doesn't leave you. You come home and you're thinking about your students, you're thinking about your parents. When you come home, you're thinking about your patients. And so it was nice to get away from having to do something like that to make income, where I could be building a business and be an entrepreneurial woman. So with all of that being said, you're very normal with these feelings. And if there's probably a lot of people here that can relate to you. And one thing that I want us to do is give ourselves a break and realize that you do have a support team here. It Works is not going to go away. You may need at times to step back and take care of yourself and take care of your family. And we want you to be able to do that. We're not here to destroy lives. We're here to empower lives. We are here to increase lives and to help people get out from under the stress and the strain. Can you imagine if you were going to work and having to have that job and going through what you went through? and having to get up every day and leave that family and struggle through that day and then come home, a lot of people just can't survive. They just really have a breakdown. So at least you could step back and take that break. But then let me ask you the other side of this. Haven't you had the time of your life with It Works? Haven't you just had a blast?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what we miss a lot of times when we start to come out from under those clouds and we start to feel a little bit better, we miss those first feelings that we had about It Works. It's almost like dating, when you first start dating your spouse and you're all excited about them. You can't sleep. You hardly eat. You can't wait to see them again. And I call that the lustful stage of life. And we go through that with It Works as well. And we just want to go all in. I mean, we don't want to sleep. We feel alive again for the first time for something for ourselves and our family. And we're dreaming. I mean, somebody has told us you can have unlimited income, get out of debt, make friends, have fun while doing it. I mean, that's like la land. And it really is. And then we start to second guess ourselves. We have life happen, a sick child, and then we don't feel as good. Another baby's depression setting in, or postpartum, like you said, something, a parent die, a family member, just life stresses. And we get away from our business a little bit to take care of these things. And when we come back, we don't feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
We don't feel, and we start to judge ourselves. We start to say, well, what happened to me? I was here and now I'm down here, and my team, they're not as active as they were. It's because you kind of left them and they feel that, but you had to do it. And so what we want to do is support you here and everyone here that's listening, and to know that sometimes we do have to step away. I've had to step away. I've had death in the family. I've had life in the family. But when I came back just fully in love and embracing it again, and knowing that it was going to be a little different, and that's okay. It's like, you fall in love, you get married, and everything's clipping along. Then suddenly you notice that they're just not as cute as they were. Or they might do something that drives you crazy that you didn't notice before, but it was there all along. And you start to criticize and complain and whine a little bit. And that's what we do with It Works. We start to criticize and we complain and we whine when the business is exactly as it was before. You're just starting to notice things. So how in the world do we do all of this? How do we worship God? How do we take care of our spouse? How do we take care of our family? And how do we go for the max on our business? Because isn't that what you want? Being a red, you want it all, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I beat myself up because I can be 100% in one area one day, and I get the house clean. I've got paid attention to my kids, and I haven't done anything with my business. And then, the next day I'm like, okay, I got to get back to my business. And then I feel bad for neglecting my family. And so,
yeah. All right. So here's this sounds more like a scheduling problem than anything else. All right. So I'm going to give you a little scenario, and then I know you've got some great questions for me. So I realized my team was ruling me. I wasn't ruling my team. Okay. My team was setting the time that they could talk to me, and not me setting the time that they could talk to me. I was showing my team that I was available 24/7, which was running me ragged. Okay. Now, guess what? A lot of my team noticed they didn't want to be like me. They didn't want to be on 24/7. So I was also losing people because they saw that kind of work that they didn't want. They didn't have that same strong desire. So what I decided was, okay, I'm not going to talk to anybody until after I get the kids on the bus. Now, your children are young, right? They're not on the bus, are they? Yes, they're young. How old are they?
2, almost 2 and 4.5.
2 and 4.5. Okay. All right. So I got the kids on the bus. I straightened up whatever I could, and I took care of me by reading from a great book, listening to something, and going to work out. That was very important for me. Keep myself in shape. And then by the time I got home, you're looking at 9:30. And then, you want to shower, you want to clean up your house. A lot of times, and everybody's going to go, oh my God, how did you do this? I didn't get started till 12. Because, I had laundry. I wanted to clean up. I keep a very clean home. I always have. My first goal was to get a maid. That was my first goal. I wanted to be able to get somebody to clean the house, and I went to work hard for that. And I'll never forget when I finally hired someone. And then I worked from like that 12 to 3. And y'all call those power hours. I did 3-hour power hours. I worked. I met people if I needed to. And when I first started Kaye, she was 7 and Adam was 10. And so they were still young. And Dave traveled. He was gone Monday through Thursday. So he was gone 4 nights a week. And I built a great business. But what I realized too is there were days where it was not that way. There were days when things didn't get picked up. There were days when I gave my business a lot. And I'm going to go get my charger here because I'm running out of battery. So there were days when it was crazy. But I just accepted it. I didn't strive for perfection. Reds tend to strive for perfection. Actually, I should say women tend to strive. Yeah. All right. So then the kids get off the bus. I am focused in on them. They want to tell you everything. So they get off the bus. We have a snack. We start a little bit of homework. Then they go out and play. And I'm right there with them, whatever they want to do. Then we come in, we start dinner. I might make a phone call or two then. I do call, or now we would be texting, we'd be emailing, and then get them ready for bed, homework, whatever. And then I would get back to work around 9. And I would work my business, from 9 and sometimes till later because I'm working the time zones. I'm working in California. So that was pretty much my day. But see, I wanted more than spare time, part-time money. I wanted extreme money. And not everybody's ready for that yet. So you can work this very spare time, very part-time, and make incredible money. You just got to make a decision. What battles us in our brain is we want full-on black diamond money, but we want to work spare time. And that's not going to happen until you're black diamond. And then you can really step back and really enjoy the fruits of that labor. But I have a feeling that you enjoy working. I have a feeling that you like it. I have a feeling that what you're trying to come to terms with is how do I make this work and work really well? You don't want to walk away from this, do you?
No, that's, I've no, not at all. And that's the hard part, because I get so stuck in my head that, I'm so far from the peak of my business. And
why do you think you're so far when we're just such a new opportunity? Why do you think that?
I guess just in relation to, the number of people working, the number of people coming in, and, volume and paychecks and the numbers part of it.
Yeah.
I totally get that we've not touched the tip of the iceberg and that, there's unlimited potential. It's just the two. Why
don't you come to terms with it? I think that what I would really sit down and do is like get up in the morning and get really quiet. And I know it's hard when you have a 2.5 and a 4-year-old. You might have to get up about 4 a.m. before they get up.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, I muted everybody and accidentally muted you too.
Okay. So get your journal out and write down, and I did this. I'm telling you, I talk about this when I go to the One Team, One Missions. What is the perfect day for you? create that day. What do you want your day to be like? Because nobody on this Zoom wants to be on their phone 24/7. Now, some of you are highly addicted. You're popping that dopamine in your brain. Every time you hear a bing, you just, it's like a rush. And so we need to back off of it from a little bit if we're getting that kind of high off of it. So what I would do is journal what a perfect day is like for you and start to live that day and really put the hours into the business that you want and let your team know this. You can contact me between this time and stick to it. And when you're with your girls, really be with them. And then on the other side of that, you're making some money now that you can get some help. And I would get help with the house first and foremost. And I would see if you could. Now, what I did is I would trade off with other moms. You babysit mine, I'll babysit yours. But try to build that day around what you truly want so that the guilt is not overtaking you, because this is what happens. If you're building your business from a place of guilt and frustration and stress, you're going to bring in the wrong people. You're going to bring in the guilty, the frustrated, and the stressed.
That could not be more spot on.
Yeah. And your team's going to feel it. And this is beautiful. I hope you cry because I hope you get this. Because if you get this, then you can say, that's not what I want. I want people that are inspired, lovely, fun, exuberant, great to be around. These are the type of people that are in my business. Oh, we got to mute. You got to mute them. We got a baby crying.
Okay.
All right. Does that make any sense to you?
Totally. Yeah.
Now, I also want you to do this. I want you to lift your hand. And I want you to do this. Pat yourself on the back. Because you're awesome. You're awesome. It takes a brave person to bring this to light and to really reach out and ask for help. And, I admire you for that. Can so relate to this, and you can work through this, and you'll look back on this in 10, 15 years, and you'll be thankful that you stayed the course and brought your daughters up to see an entrepreneurial woman who could hold a family together, love God, and do everything that she wanted to do and not lose all her hair and turn gray. All right, so what are that you had some questions from some people, but before we do that, do you mind if I bring Kaye on? Because
no, not at all.
I want her to talk for about 5 minutes. She grew up with all of this crazy mom stuff, She grew up with me, so she can give you a great perspective, and she's also balancing Kennedy, and she's balancing a new one on the way.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. I literally just got Kennedy out of the room, too. He was, in the camera thinking he was going to be, the star of the show tonight.
Oh, shoot. We could have been.
He was wearing his little Christmas jammies. He's still his Star Wars jammies, but he was flirting with the camera, so that was cute. I'm sorry you missed it. So yeah, as I feel like this baby's going to come out of me in this moment, and then I've got Kennedy running around, this is the perfect time to talk about this. And Mom and I had some time together today, and we did talk, and just kind of looking back at all the years, like she said, I was 6.5, 7 when she started networking, and I don't remember. That's what I want y'all to really understand is I remember being with my mom. And I want you guys to understand as your moms in this business and moms to be in this business and just having moms on your team, she was so present. I remember things like having peanut butter crackers when I got off the bus. And I remember her playing stop and go on the street. We had this hill in front of our house, and I would be in my little car and I'd go really, really fast, and she'd be down there directing traffic so that my brother and I could race. I remember playing outside and just being she was so present with us, because she mentioned my dad, he was gone Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Friday. And I remember like peeking through the little window at the house, waiting for him to come home because I was so excited. So he was gone and she was present. And so I don't remember her working.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember those things because she had to be on with my brother and I, and we were active. I played softball. So I played softball from the time I was 6 until through high school, and I danced as well. So she was putting me through softball, which was expensive, dance. My brother was in band, and we were both really busy kids. And she was there for so again, my dad's gone. Someone's got to take me to ballet, and someone's got to pick me up, and someone's got to take me to softball practice, and someone's got to take Adam to band. Who's going to do that? It was Mom during the week. So as a mom now, and I realize, look, there's Kennedy's in school, and he's got speech, and he's got swim. We're trekking along, taking him, and I'm going, oh, my mom did this and built this business. That's really incredible. And that didn't slow down, because when I was 12, when she started at Works, my goodness, that was just a whole nother level of, now I have friends that I want to have sleepovers with and things I want to do, and more sports. I was a competitive softball player at that point. So I played 10 months out of the 12 months of the year. And they had to be at my competitions in the weekend, my softball tournaments and my dance competitions, because I was a competitive dancer. And it's exhausting to think about that she built this company alongside our CEO, built the field like we're doing. That she was out in the trenches, just like every single one of us, doing parties, wrapping people, building teams, praying someone will even just go diamond. And she's doing it all while raising 2 really busy kids. And I remember her being present. Now, where I do remember her building at Works, probably in my ability to understand more logic and just being more present as a teenager, is I remember going to the coffee shop with her. It was called Mill Mountain Coffee, where we're from. We're from Star City, Roanoke, Virginia. And I would go to that coffee shop and I would sit there with her, and she would let me get a cookie if I went. Okay. And I would sit there with her as she had her meeting with whomever, someone just like any of us. And I would sit there and I'd eat my cookie, and she would do her meeting. And then at home, she'd have opportunity meetings. She would have to record VHS DVDs in order to give them to somebody for them to listen to the opportunities. We didn't have YouTube and any of this Zoom stuff, right? So she'd have to, remember back in the day, you'd have to play the VHS in order to record it. So it would have to play. So she would have to do like 10 of these things and send them out. And I would repeat them over and over and over again, because I was hearing this, And with It Works, I was going to parties with her. Any local party I would go. If I got the chance to go out of town with her, I think it was such a big deal when she started traveling to Greensboro, because there was like this big mall there, and we were from this tiny town, and she would take me shopping. So if I went to the meeting, we'd have some girl time. And so I would go to these meetings and I'd hear all these stories, not realizing this was all getting ingrained in me. I had no idea. So your kids are paying attention to everything. They're paying attention when we're on our phones too much, just as they're paying attention to how fully present we are and how we're exuding our energy and we're spending our life. And I tell you what, y'all, it's worth it to be present with them, for them to have the experience that I know I had as a kid growing up in this industry, because I have the most incredible relationship with my mom still to this day. And we have a friendship relationship. We have a business relationship, and we also have this phenomenal mother-daughter relationship. And these are things that I really think that we should pay attention to as moms and as leaders. So I just wanted to share that, because she never put her business before me. And she didn't do that to my brother, and she never will. That's the cool thing. And the life she's created for herself is remarkable. And it's no different than any opportunity, regardless of her being corporate. We all have that same opportunity because she built the field. And that's always at the forefront of my mind to know if she can do it, we can do it. All of us can do it. And we should listen to her more. We should take these tips from her more because she knows what she's doing and she did it. And she's the example for us for that. So.
Well, I had to mute because I'm about to cry. I'm about to lose it. I loved her softball games because I would go behind the car when they would be losing, and I'd lift the trunk and start cussing and throwing chairs around. I could let off some aggression at these softball games. And, I loved watching her dance. We didn't miss anything. And, I'm not perfect. Dave and I had struggles through this. I'll never forget one morning. This is before I got the phone under control, and he was sitting at the table. Kids had taken off for school, and he hits the table like this as hard as he could. Everything started shaking, and I'm like looking up at him like, what the heck? And he says, you just don't love me anymore. And I mean, I'm like, what? He goes, you just don't love me anymore. And I said, you know what, Dave? I love you. I'm just trying to build a business here. I do love you. I love you and I love the kids. I'm just trying to build a business, just like you're trying to build a business. Now, I may not be present all the time, but I am here for you. I love you that much. I said, I'm not going to leave this. I'm not going to quit this. This is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I think at that point, he realized that he just had to stop pouting. He had to stop pouting, and he had to understand that, all right, she's working too. She's working too. She's not here just to cater to me. And then I sat down and we had the most incredible conversation. And when he said, you're just always on your phone, I used to say, no, I'm not. I'm not always on my phone. Yeah, Pam, you're pretty much always on your phone. When the kids are gone, you're pretty much always on your phone. I said, no, I'm not. And then I realized, just shut up, Pam, and say you're always on your phone. So I said, you know what, Dave? You're right. I'm always on my phone. And this big breath came out of him and said, see, I told you. And he got up and he walked out. And he was fine after that. After I finally admitted I was always on my phone. They just want to be right sometimes, So, I remember I traveled a lot with It Works, and a tremendous amount. One time, Kaye said, Mom, do you remember, were you in college, Kaye, when you said?
I was in college. It was probably 19 or so. She was home 2 weeks out of the whole year, and not at the same time.
Yeah.
And It Works exploded. That's when we were like, we just catapulted. We went from Mom said they were scraping by thinking, is this going to pop? Is this going to pop? And then it just took off. And yeah, she was home 2 weeks, but I was in college at that point, and my brother's older. So
yeah. And when I think about the way we live today, I wouldn't change any of it. The thing that I would change is I would have had a lot more confidence in the early days. Confidence that I could do this. I was very, very much scared about whether or not I could build this team and build this company. I'd never done anything like that before, with that much responsibility to Mark and the employees, as well as the distributors, and to Luis and the product. I value the product immensely. I'm just proud of that product, and thankful that God gave me that opportunity. He placed that product in my lap, and I honor that. And I want all of you to do that too. And I have never, from that moment that I realized that my team was running me, I never allowed anybody to run me anymore. I made the decision that I was going to run my business the way I wanted my business to run. And sometimes we have heartbreak in our families. Kaye knows what I'm talking about. And you've got to step back and take care of your family. And you do it. You do it. And your business will be there when you get back. If you duplicate correctly, And don't take that as, oh, I'm not duplicating correctly. You learn all of this as you go. All of y'all are new. You don't have 24 years in a business and like I have, and you're new, and you're going to make a tremendous amount of not failures or mistakes, just business moves that don't make sense. And you're going to make that happen. And then but if you're wise and you go, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I don't like the way that feels. And you observe it and you step back and you decide, I'm going to go this way instead, and self-correct. And that's what we should do, is not look at it as failures or mistakes, as, oh, that did not work in my business. That I don't like the way I feel doing that. That's not my gift. I'm not going to no longer just try to be that person. I'm going to be me. And see, there's one thing that I really want to stay here, and then I'm definitely going to get to these questions, is I want to be me. When I am me, I thrive. When I try to be someone else, I die inside. A piece of me dies. So what would my business look like today? No different than before. I would be out in the trenches. I'd be kissing on you and hugging on you. I'd be in somebody's house right now, and I'd be wrapping people, sweating, wrapping, and putting them in the business. Oh, they'd either be a customer or a distributor. That's my faith. I'd be out blitzing. I would be out at events, and I would probably be on social media just showing you all the fun I'm having. And I would use it as a tool to communicate. Some of you, that you would rather die because that's not your gift. Your gift is social media. So do whatever you love doing in the business, but be your own person. Be that person that you really truly are. And look at how your life will be. Every one of you should get your journals out in the morning, get them out really early, and create that day. And I did that, and I talk about my day every time I go to a meeting. And I do that, and I know it's redundant and repetitive, and some of you are like, her story never changes. It's my story. It's who I am, and I'm hoping I tell that story so that you will go home and create your day. And right now, your day may look like 30 minutes of work. Tomorrow, your day may look like an hour. And Kaye, I want you to go through that one more analogy of this, the bouncing, or the balls, or the spin, or the plates. And let's do that, and then we're going straight to questions.
So I can't even take like full credit for this. Is TD Jakes, and Alyssa, Billy, and I were having this phenomenal conversation on the phone one day, and I think she learned it from Katie Rogers. I don't even know. It's just this chain effect, but that's what I love about our leadership, right? So TD Jakes has this phenomenal analogy, and he talked about this at the Leadership Summit. And if you just think of it like this, we every day, y'all, we're juggling all these balls, okay? We're juggling all these things, balls, right? Let's think of one as faith, could be, one is our kids, one is our husband or spouse, one is, oh gosh, our self, which could be our fitness or just our meditation or just our self in general, self-love. And we're juggling all these things, family, outside of our kids, outside of our spouse, but they're all separate things, right? And of course, our business is one of them. I don't know if I said that. But all day long, if you just envision, we're juggling. Well, let's say Monday comes around and we drop the kids' ball. We just drop the ball. It's like that day we're like, maybe we don't spend enough time with them. I saw this on one of my mom's pages. I was telling mom I was cracking up. This mom says, I've got an infant at home that's got a high fever. I've been nursing all day. The alarm never went off, or I didn't even hear it to pick up my kid from school. I missed the school pickup. It's been 35 minutes. I get a call from school. Am I a bad mom? And we're all like, no, you're not a bad mom. And we're all just trying to give her some love because it's like things happen, right? I saw another one today. A mom goes, I'm, 30 minutes into my drive running errands with my kid, and my kid finally tells me in the back seat I didn't buckle up the car seat. And she's like, am I a bad mom? I'm like, who's been there? Like, I've looked back and gone, oh my gosh, sorry, Kennedy, and things happen, right? So so we dropped the kids' ball, right? We dropped that ball that day. Maybe we're not present enough. We're too much on our phone. We're too much inundated with our business. We're on way too many Zooms, and we're just in our head, and we're just so like, well, guess what? The next day you got to pick up the kids' ball. You can't drop the same ball twice. Because if you keep dropping the same ball over and over and over again, before you know it, it's been a week, it's been a month, and things are getting past you. Just like if you drop the spouse ball on Wednesday, guess what? You got to pick up the spouse ball on Thursday. And we likely know what that means. You know, you got to love on them a little bit more. Spend a little time with them. I notice sometimes with Scott, it's just his love language is touch. I got to just snuggle him on the couch. I got to put everything away and just get inundated with him. And that just brings him back to life. That's picking up the spouse ball again, whatever that is for you. Date night that you plan. Honey, fast start bonus on me tonight. I'm taking us to the movies. You know, just something so special. Just like with your business. If you keep dropping the business ball, you drop it on Thursday, you got to pick it up on Friday. And if you drop it again on Friday, it's Saturday, and then it's Sunday, and then, my gosh, the whole next week, before you know it, you've dropped the business ball again, and then you're looking back and you're going, well, what happened?
And that's
discipline.
That's when I see people to start to give up because they drop that ball too long, too many times. Yeah.
It's such a clear analogy, y'all. If you for me, it's been a game changer because I go, oh, I dropped that ball. I got to pick it back up. And so it's a good soft way to not beat ourselves up because life happens. So great for coaching. It's been great for me for coaching my distributors and my team, my leaders. And then for me personally, you know, to really just put that back up. So pick those balls back up and put them back in the juggling.
Amy Spence just said it's amaze balls. Yes, it is, Amy.
Balls.
Amaze balls.
I love y'all. I'm sorry I don't help. I'm loving the comments over here. They're great. So
thank you, Kaye. You're so precious. You are so precious. All right. Let's have a question.
Well, I literally because Kaye, you commented on that in the thread. And so I had that written down. I was going to ask you to discuss that. So you are a great mind reader. And actually, Pam, you touched on every question that I had in mind for you as well. So Nicole Brookshire, Skiduri Brookshire, did I say that right?
Yes.
So in the post on the Lifers page, you mentioned that, you know, you do make small sacrifices, but you communicate those with your kids. And, you know, I feel like probably the guilt, the regret, the hesitations mostly come from that, you know, feeling like we were failing in some area as a mom. So I'd love to hear your 2 cents on, you know, how you kind of discuss that and what that looks like for you guys.
So my husband and I are in a blended family. And so I think that kind of gives us I just feel like our situation's really unique. But we have a 13-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So Kingston does not count. He doesn't count. He kind of just runs free and gets to do whatever he wants. He rules the roost around here. But everybody else, we've been in the business almost 3 years. And so most of you, I think, know who I am, but I started the business and about a year and a half, I sort of just stopped. And then I made a comeback. So where I failed in the beginning is I lacked communication. I just did, and I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. So so I had those issues where my kids just saw me on my phone all the time, or they just saw me working all the time. And then I'm an accountant, so I still have my full-time job. And so I was working all day and then all night. And so there was that big break in communication. And so when we made the decision to come back to the business, that was one of the biggest parts. And so we literally sat the kids down. Our 8-year-old is special needs, and his therapies are his next summer therapy is $20,000. It's not covered by insurance. And we paid everything from It Works. And so we have open communication with our kids. And I know that some people I mean, I'm not going to lie. Some people have really criticized us for that. They think that, maybe having those kind of conversations with kids at those ages is not appropriate. But for us, and because of the situation that we're in, we wanted our children to know, like, hey, this is why, like, we work extra hard so that we have nice things. We can take you guys to Disneyland, and we can go to Disney World, and we can do all of these things. And Braden knows that he knows he's different, and he knows that he has lots of therapies to go to, and he sees mom pulling out her card to pay for things and writing checks. And so we just literally sat them down and we said, hey, mom and Justin own a business, and that's why mom's on her phone all the time. And we just have like open communication. And when we had that open communication, they told us what they didn't like. And that gave us the opportunity to figure out, like, and it kind of leads into the other question you and I talked about, but they felt like I didn't care about them. And it was because I made no time for anybody, like not even myself. And so I asked them, like, okay, well, what do you guys want from me? And what I found is that they just wanted to be included. They wanted to feel like they were a part of something. And so that's what we did. We made them a part of the business. And so everyone has a job. And, like some people pay their kids to do like chores. I pay my kids to do It Works. Yeah.
I love you. Oh
yes,
my gosh. Let me see what you said. Like they put stickers.
Yep. They're responsible for putting like the stickers on my wraps. They're responsible for putting the stickers on our Blitz cards. Like we do a lot of expos. So like they're responsible for putting the stickers on like our product catalogs. Like they help mom pack, organize. Like when it's like expo season, like I have a big calendar. They like help me color code. And so it's like they feel like they're a part of it. And so it became less like mom's business and more like the family business. And then on top of that, it really started to teach them responsibility. And so like, and get everybody into their own personality, right? Like my stepdaughter is a spender. And so she spends all her money that she earns, but the boys are savers, and like they save for whatever it is that they want. And so I think that it's like a double-edged sword. They feel like they have a job, And so like, I know that they're young, but especially like our 13-year-old, he's starting to learn like responsibility. And my husband, he really gets on him like, hey, like almost like a job review, you know what I'm saying? And he teaches them that responsibility. And so it's not just like picking up around the house, but it's like they have a critical part in this business, because the more we do the expos, the more overwhelmed I got very, very quickly. Oh. Especially because we sell a lot of wraps. And so I'm like, like it takes time to peel off stickers. And so I think that's how that happened, is that open communication. I needed to know what they needed from me. And it's so funny because we have open communication with our team, but we don't have open communication like with our kids. So weird. Mm-hmm. So, or at least it was weird for me. And so that's kind of how like we kind of like tackled that. And then like small sacrifices, like I said, we are a blended family. And so we have my stepkids 2 weeks out of the month. And so and then my son goes to his dad every other weekend. And so there's 2 weekends a month where my husband and I travel to expos. And so that means that on those weekends when they're with their other parents, like we miss soccer games, we miss basketball games, we miss whatever's going on. And we told them like, you know what, Mom and Justin, like all that work you guys did, now we're going to go and we're going to make money. And we're going to use that money to make sure that you guys get paid for your job. And this is your guys' time to spend with your other parent. And I know that our situation's unique, but we kind of just work with what we have. And as far as Kingston, obviously he's ours together. He's just going to kind of just grow up into it. So he'll just get used to the routine. So, and then if we have an expo where it lands with them, they just come with us. Like they just learn, like my son Braden can tell you what a wrap does. That's awesome. When I went to buy my car and they asked me what I do for a living, I was like, oh, I'm an accountant. And before I could say anything else, Braden was like, my mom sells wraps.
That is probably some of the best advice I've heard in a while too. That's what I was saying about my husband. He wanted me to communicate with him. He wanted me to tell him I was serious. I was going to stay in, and that I cared about him. And I started including him. I started having people to the house and him sitting there and listening. You started to understand the business more instead of excluding him. Brilliant, Nicole. Thank you for sharing. I loved it. I loved it. All right, Kirsten, you have some more?
Yeah, Nicole, you also mentioned, it's kind of a segue too, because you mentioned that, communication with your spouse is so important too. And you said 2 weeks of the month, he and you decide that you stay up all hours of the night. And the other 2 weeks of the month, you go to bed with him at 9 p.m. And I just thought that was awesome, because I feel like, our kids are dependent on us, but our spouses not so much. And so they're kind of the easiest to, tell them, like, you've been for yourself. And, I think of the months preparing to go triple.
And I think that what we all need to do is understand that all of our lives are uniquely different. So what works for one may not work for someone else. And that we've just got to find that, somebody told me that the word balance is nowhere to be found in the Bible. Think about that. Everything is always doing this or that. It's either up or down or all around. And so maybe that's something that is not real. We're always going to be, like Ashley said, it's like juggling the balls. And so things are in influx. And I find when they're like this, we're bored. We almost want something to come in and shake us up a little bit. Yeah, Dr. Don told us that at dinner. Yes. Yeah. There is no such thing as balance. All right, let's take another question.
Sam, are you on here? Oh, I see you. Thank you, Nicole. All right, Sam, you said something awesome that was, you spent a year of refocusing and asking those big questions of God and growing your trust in Him. So, maybe there's some people on here kind of exploring that spiritual journey, or, like me, kind of getting in a different layer of that. And so I'm curious, what did that look like for you? And how would someone not deeply rooted in their faith kind of begin that?
Yeah. Well, so for me, I think there's a lot of us, like when I started with It Works, it was just up, 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 and we didn't know what down looked like. So then after we went ambassador, we hit a down season, which is normal in business. I mean, let's just be real, but I had never done business before, so I didn't know that. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, all these lies that start to pop in your head. Am I a one-hit wonder? Is this it? Is this the beginning of the end? Pam walked me through, some moments as well, which was amazing, but it didn't churn as fast as I thought it was going to. We're still kind of in the middle of it. And so there was just some moments where, I had a lot of people quit at once. I know there's a few of you that have as well. And, you just start to doubt yourself. You start to have all these fears. And one day I'm crying with a friend, like, hey, can you pray with me? I've been feeling so down. And all these things had started coming up in my heart that I didn't realize were there. And she says, Sam, God is taking you to your promised land. Just because a few people left doesn't, like, your promised land wasn't dependent on them. It's dependent on God and you walking with Him. So why, like, what in your heart is causing you to doubt the promises and the plans He has for you? So that was a moment where I got to kind of ask myself, like, who do I have my trust in, really, is what it comes down to. Is my trust in what's in my bank account, or what my rank is, or what my number is, or is my trust in God? Because really that's what it comes down to. And so in those moments, I got to kind of just process it with God. Like, God, I'm feeling afraid right now. Like, what's going on with my business? And, it was so funny because, like, I just heard Him so clearly. Like, God speaks to us, guys. So if you're new on your journey, like, prayer is so powerful, but also take time to listen to Him speak to you. So there was moments where I'd be like, okay, God, what is going on? Father, what's happening? And all I heard Him say is, I got this, baby girl. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I knew that I had to keep doing my part, right? Because we don't just wait for Him to, like, to fall out of heaven, as much as that would be amazing, but it's a partnership, right? So I do my part and I trust him to do his. So, I keep going. A few months go by. I'm not really seeing a change yet. So I'm like, hey, God, hello, what's going on here? Like you said, you had this. And again, he's right there like, baby girl, I said, I got this. Trust me. Okay. So we keep going, keep plugging away. But it's just been in those moments where it's, I don't know, I've heard this before, and it's like, you got to praise him in the valleys and you praise him on the mountaintops. And we've been on the mountaintops and we're like, God's so amazing. He did this. But then we hit a valley and we're like, where is he? And we start to doubt his plans for us. And we start to think, oh, this must be not what he has for me because it's not working. Like, actually, no, if you read the Bible, I mean, when God like anointed David to be the king as a child, like how long did it take for him to finally become the king, right? It's not like in the middle of all those years, he's like, oh, he must have made a mistake. He must have not meant for me to be the king. So I'm just going to give up. Like, no, that's not what happened. And you hear that as well with Moses and going into the promised land. And it's just time and time again. And so if you're in the middle of a struggle and a hardship, don't question God's plan for you. Like his plans for you are so good. And his promises for you are true. And so if like fear and doubt start to come in, that's when you can say like, okay, what lies am I believing right now? What lies am I believing? Because any part of your heart that is not doesn't have hope, is not gleaming with hope, it means that you're believing a lie. So what lie is it? You gotta identify it so that you can say, okay, now God, what is your truth? And then when you find out what his truth is, then whenever any hardships come your way, you can just say like, hey, no, my God said, and you can lean on that. So yeah, I mean, that's just been like this last, probably year, it's just been, I think, a great opportunity for those little fears to come up and for me to be able to identify those lies, because you know what? He has great promises for us. Such great promises for us, but we gotta learn to get through the battles and to get through the, again, to praise him on the mountaintops and praise him in the valleys. And so I think that's just really important. So again, if you're new to your faith, if you're new to in your spirituality, I mean, honestly, just take time to like, even when you're reading scripture, like what things stand out to you, hang on to those promises for you, write them down, put them on your mirror so that when fear and doubt start to come into your head, you can combat that. No, God said, this is what he said. And you got to be able to combat that fear and those lies that start to come your way. And so I would just encourage you guys to do that.
I love that. I'm so excited for your new Bible study too.
I wanted to say, when you said the word doubt, I remembered this. Doubt slows, faith speeds. And, when we come in, we've got people's businesses that are doing this right now because they're fresh, they're new, and they're just rocking it out. And I'm hoping that they'll eventually be able to watch this, because at some point we start to doubt ourselves. We start to question, how did I get here? Am I worthy? Why me? And that starts to go, and then our business starts to slow. And we start to really notice that slowness, which increases the slowness, instead of now what you've been through. When you're going to have that next influx, and you're going to start to question again, because your income is going to get to a certain level, and you start to question that again. And now you can self-correct very quickly. We just met with our financial people this week, and they said, we've had such an increase for the last 8-9 years in the stock market and bonds and everything that's out there. Big increase, where over in Europe, other countries, it's been a big decrease. They said it's just getting ready to flip. And we're going to see the decrease where they're going to see the increase. This, again, is like this. And if you go back in history, everything's like that. But we're driving this up here. We're driving that, and we're driving it right here in our heart. And so what happens to most of us is we get to a certain level in our business. It could be Ruby. Sam, you've seen this. You've seen people at Ruby. I've hit Ruby. That's it. They don't think there's anything more for them. I just had somebody on my call. She's been in 5 years. She's a top recruiter now. And she's Ruby, and she's going for it. She's going to break Emerald. And the reason is she finally connected to a product, which built her faith. She lost 50 pounds, and she's like rocking it out. The business has been there for her for 5 years, but she hasn't been ready. And so here you are. You've gone through this. Now you can coach people, because we can't coach people through something we haven't been through. And so all of you think I have all this wisdom and stuff. I'm like, heck no, I've just been there. I've just lived a lot of life, and I've been there. I've gone through it, and I've worked my way out. Sometimes I was stubborn, and it took me way too long. And I look back and like, why was I in that hole for that long? But I was in the hole for that long. And so one other thing that I would highly suggest, I know we love to talk about it. We love to go back and almost call it arguing for it. One thing I would suggest, Sam, is don't talk about it anymore. Yes, don't talk about it anymore. From this point is a new you. From this point. And so when people say, how's your business going? Talk about it from this point. Well, have you had rough passage? Sure. But from here on, we're going here, and you focus your mind there, because every time you go back, you bring it up, you put it into your life again, starts to slow things down. And here comes another thought that starts to slow it down. Here comes another thought. It takes work to do that, to take ownership of that and understand that. But when a thought starts to come to me about something I don't want in my life, I look at it like it's a cloud going by, and the thought is in the cloud. I don't fight it. Because if I fight it, here comes more, here comes more. That's why Mother Teresa said she wouldn't go to a rally on war. She would go march on peace. She would because she'd talk about peace all day long, but she's not going to talk about war, because she knew if she put her attention on war, then more war would happen. And so that's something that we've really got to understand. And then one last thing, because we're at 9:59, ask and you shall receive. And one thing that I really am asking for today is bigger questions, like bigger. We just experienced 2018 in February conference. Amazing. I used to stand in front of teams 10, 12 years ago, forever ago. And I would talk about a conference that we were going to have. And at that conference, we were going to have dancers and smoke, and all this stuff was going on. And then I realized I also had in that moment that my daughter Kaye was pregnant. Well, that conference just took place. Now, this is a 12, 13, 14-year dream, vision of desire. So I was standing there backstage saying, it's all coming true. Now I've got to dream a bigger dream. That's taking place. Now what's going to happen? How much are we going to fill that arena up to where that arena, Emily, is not big enough? So can we all just personally set that in place for ourselves? We can. I would be thinking, how many butts am I going to put in those seats that are from my team? How many of my team are going to walk across that stage at 150 or above? Where's my number? What am I going to go after? And then we take all of that and we decide what we want. And then when these thoughts of guilt, of remorse, of am I good enough? Am I taking care of everybody? We just decide how we're going to create that day and watch what happens. My goal is for you to all to understand that you can work less and have more. Because if you are working in that time that you're working in what's going to happen and not what happened back there. And you're not working in doubt, and you're not working in discouragement, and you're not working with less faith, but you're working within faith, that you can actually work less and have more. And that is tremendous. And it will happen for you. And that's why I say we can have it all. But we've got to understand that someday this ball is going to fall, and we picked this one up. All right, we got somebody, Melissa, Melissa Hart, please mute. All right, Kristen, I loved it.
I loved it too. It was everything I've been envisioning for 6 days.
Thank you.
Thank you so
much for putting this together. And I saw your post. I saw all the comments. I'm like, I've got to speak on this. And I appreciate you more than you know. I want you to know you can reach out to me at any time and let us know how you're doing. And I have the utmost faith in you and belief that your children are being raised by one of the most beautiful women in the world. Yeah. And I appreciate you for that. You're making those girls really understand what a woman can do. You're getting them to really get what a mom can have in her life. So congratulations on that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I will post the recording. It won't be tonight, but I will post it, and I'll give it to, I'll put it under the comments, all the comments on the Lifers page. But hey, everybody, let's go out and have it all. Let's have it all. Mwah. Good night, everyone. I love you all. Good night. Good night.
Good night.